actively wasting your company's money.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Right. Because a $20 AI subscription can do that exact same analysis in like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So what exactly are you paying that consultant for?
Yeah, that uncomfortable reality is exactly what we are exploring today.
Yeah. I mean, think back to a time before smartphones, right? There used to be this immense, undeniable value in just being the person who had memorized the city map.
Oh, I remember.
You were the designated navigator in the car. You were totally indispensable because you had the answers, stored in your head. When someone asked, hey, how do we get there? You just rattled off the route.
The entire journey relied on your specific stored knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, without you, everyone in that car is just driving in circles, wasting gas.
Yeah, exactly.
The value you provided was pure information retrieval.
But then GPS comes along. And suddenly, having that route memorized isn't a superpower anymore.
Not at all.
The machine calculates the route faster. It adapts to traffic in real time. It reroutes instantly. And frankly, it doesn't get defensive when you accidentally miss an exit.
No, it just recalculates.
Right. So the person who used to pride themselves on holding that map, on just knowing the static route, has to look around and figure out, what exactly is my value in this car now?
And that is the exact dilemma facing the entire knowledge work industry today. We're looking at a fundamental shift in what it means to be an expert in 2026.
Yeah, it's huge.
Our grounding source for this deep dive is a really insightful piece published recently on March 16th, actually, by Jani Parashar. He's the founder and director of Rethynk AI.
Rethynk AI, right.
Yeah, and he wrote an article called The Consultant's New Role in an AI-Powered World. He essentially argues that AI is not just tweaking the traditional consulting model. It is fundamentally breaking it down and demanding something completely new.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the stakes here are massive for you. Whether you hire consultants for your organization, or maybe you work as a consultant yourself, or honestly, if you just rely on your own hard-earned expertise to get by in your career, the rules of knowledge work are shifting under your feet.
They really are.
Let's start by defining exactly what is broken in the old model. Historically, if you hired a management consultant, you were hiring them to diagnose complex problems, provide strategic recommendations, and offer industry insights.
Right, and if you look at how they actually delivered that value, it relied heavily on a very specific set of manual, human-intensive tasks.
Mm-hmm.
It usually looked like this. An agency sends in an army of junior analysts. They spend weeks interviewing your staff, pulling your financial data, conducting market research, and basically just sitting in hotel rooms, crunching Excel spreadsheets.
So many spreadsheets.
Exactly. Then they filter all of that manual analysis through their firm's established frameworks to generate a recommendation.
The value proposition was crystal clear, right? External experts have the time and the specialized brain power to crunch the numbers that your internal team just doesn't have the bandwidth to handle.
Right.
They were basically highly paid human calculators. But Parashar points out that today, algorithms can process that same massive mountain of data, identify the hidden patterns, and generate the insights way faster.
Faster, cheaper, and at a massively greater scale than any human consulting team ever could.
Yeah.
What's fascinating here is that AI doesn't just speed up the analysis phase. It entirely commoditizes it. Information and analysis are no longer scarce resources.
Which is wild to think about.
It is. For decades, the baseline of what businesses considered valuable was that human ability to find a hidden insight in the data. Because that scarcity has vanished, AI flips the entire consulting model from an insights business to a systems business.
Right.
If a consultant continues to rely solely on providing analysis, well, Parashar warns they risk becoming completely redundant.
So, if your day-to-day job relies purely on summarizing data and handing it to your boss, you really need to pay attention to this shift. Because analysis is just no longer a viable standalone product. You can't just sell the answer anymore.
No, you can't.
So, Parashar outlines 4 transformational shifts that consultants and really all knowledge workers must make, moving from static deliverables to dynamic architecture. And the first shift is moving from information providers to decision architects.
Which makes sense, because leaders today do not need more insights. They are completely drowning in insights.
Oh, totally. Every dashboard gives you 50 new data points.
Exactly. What they actually need are decision systems. The modern consultant has to define the actual frameworks for making choices. They have to integrate AI into the leadership processes.
What does that mean, practically?
It means clarifying exactly when human judgment needs to override the algorithm.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. And Honestly, I need to push back on this a little bit.
Sure, go for it.
If a consultant's new job is to define exactly when a human should override the AI, doesn't that require the consultant to confidently predict where the AI's blind spots will be?
Well,
I mean, how does anyone guarantee a foolproof override in a system that is constantly learning and changing? AI isn't static, it evolves. So how do you architect a guardrail for a moving target?
that's a great question. But you don't try to predict every single specific blind spot because, as you said, that's impossible.
Right.
Instead, you design a system based on confidence thresholds and edge case routing.
Edge case routing.
Yeah, let's talk about the mechanism of how this actually works. Say a company uses an AI system to dynamically price its retail products based on demand.
Okay.
A decision architect doesn't say, the AI will fail when pricing winter coats in November. That's too specific. Instead, they build a guardrail into the workflow that says, if the AI proposes a price change of more than 15% in a single day, or if its internal confidence score drops below 90%,
Oh, I see.
the system automatically pauses the action and routes the decision to a human category manager.
Ah, so you aren't predicting the specific error. You are architecting a workflow where human oversight is naturally triggered by the system's own uncertainty parameters.
Exactly. You are building the circuit breaker. That is a decision system. You're defining the rules of engagement between the human and the machine, rather than just handing the human a report about what the machine found.
Wow, okay. And that transition from handing over a report to building a circuit breaker naturally brings us to the second transformational shift, which is moving from report writers to organizational designers.
Right.
In the traditional model, a consulting engagement almost always ended with a massive deliverable. A thick report, a slick 200-page slide deck, or a multi-year strategic roadmap.
But in an AI-driven organization, value no longer comes from static reports. I mean, a strategic roadmap is outdated the minute it's printed.
Because the market shifts.
Exactly, the market shifts, or the underlying AI model updates. Value now comes from designing AI-enabled workflows, creating what Parashar calls cross-functional intelligence flows.
Cross-functional intelligence flows.
Yeah, building operating models that seamlessly integrate technology with human expertise on a daily basis.
Wait, let's ground that a bit. Cross-functional intelligence flows sounds great in a boardroom, but what does that actually look like on a Tuesday afternoon at a mid-sized company?
Let's use a concrete example. In a traditional siloed company, the supply chain department and the marketing department barely talk to each other.
Classic.
Right. So, if a massive storm delays a shipping container of running shoes, the supply chain team knows about it, but the marketing team might still be running a $50,000 digital ad campaign promoting those exact same shoes.
Oh man, so they're burning money advertising inventory that doesn't exist.
Exactly, because the intelligence isn't flowing across functions.
Right.
So, an organizational designer comes in and doesn't just write a report saying you guys should communicate better. That doesn't fix anything.
Yeah, we've all seen those reports.
They architect a continuous AI-enabled workflow. They build a system where the supply chain tracking algorithm talks directly to the marketing bidding algorithm.
Oh, wow.
So the moment the shipping delay is confirmed, the system automatically pauses the ad spend for those running shoes and reallocates the budget to a product that is currently overstocked in the warehouse.
So instead of dropping a PDF on the CEO's desk and saying, here's your 3-year plan, you are physically wiring the organization's nervous system to be smarter and more reactive on a daily basis.
That's it.
It's like the consultant is acting more like a neurosurgeon, connecting different parts of the corporate brain so they can talk to each other without human bottlenecking.
That is a perfect analogy. You are rewiring the nervous system, but building that highly intelligent interconnected system is really only half the battle.
Why is that?
Because once you build it, you have to make sure the people inside the company actually know how to use it. And you have to ensure the system doesn't accidentally hallucinate a decision that destroys the company's reputation.
Which brings us to the human elements of this transition. Parashar outlines the third shift, moving from advisors to capability builders. The era of short-term advice is basically over.
Right. If you are rewiring a company's nervous system, you can't just pack up your laptop and leave when the contract is over. AI transforms organizations continuously.
So consultants have to help organizations develop long-term internal capabilities.
Exactly. We're talking about building AI literacy among the leadership team. You have to train the executives on how to manage these dynamic systems, how to interpret the data flows, and really how to maintain the architecture long after the consultant has left the building.
It's the difference between doing the work for them and teaching them how to oversee the machine that does the work.
Spot on.
And that oversight leads us to the fourth shift, which Parashar argues is moving from strategy experts to trust stewards.
Yes, this one is critical.
Because AI brings immense complex risks, right? We see major concerns around totally opaque decision-making, where an AI can't even explain why it chose a certain path. There is massive reputational exposure for companies that deploy these systems recklessly.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the concept of a trust steward is really about operational governance.
Okay.
If you look at Parashar's broader contextual work, specifically another piece he published recently titled "Your Brand is Already Being Judged by Its AI Maturity," you see that responsible AI governance is no longer just a legal compliance checkbox.
It's bigger than that.
It is a core branding issue. If your newly implemented AI system hallucinates a discriminatory pricing policy or automatically denies loans based on flawed demographic patterns, your brand equity is instantly severely damaged. A consultant isn't just protecting you from a potential lawsuit anymore. They are protecting your identity in the marketplace by designing transparency into the system.
Hold on, though. Isn't calling a consultant a trust steward just like a clever rebrand? Well, at the end of the day, if an AI goes rogue and does something damaging, the company gets publicly dragged through the mud, not the external consultant. How can an outsider actually steward trust for a brand they don't even own?
It's a fair challenge. And it really comes down to the mechanics of how the system is built. You're right, an outsider cannot absorb the public relations fallout for you.
Yeah.
But they can steward trust by engineering explainability into the AI models before they ever go live.
Explainability.
Yes. A trust steward ensures that when a customer asks, "Why was my application denied?" the company never has to answer. "We don't know, the AI just said so."
Oh, that would be a PR nightmare.
Exactly. The consultant builds audit trails into the data architecture so that every automated decision can be traced back to its underlying logic. They are stewarding trust by refusing to let you implement a black box system that you don't understand.
That makes a lot of sense. So, to use an analogy, the old consultant was like a personal trainer handing you a 12-week workout PDF. But the new consultant is an architect who builds your home gym, teaches you how to use it safely, and makes sure the equipment won't suddenly drop a weight on your foot.
I love that. They are building the safety harnesses.
Okay, so we have these four massive shifts, from information providers to decision architects, from report writers to organizational designers, from advisors to capability builders, and from strategy experts to trust stewards.
Yes.
And Parashar doesn't just leave this as high-level theory, right? He provides a very practical framework for how leaders can apply this right now when they are evaluating their external partnerships.
He does. He offers 4 key questions that any leader should ask before signing a contract with a consulting firm or an external vendor today. And frankly, this is a phenomenal tool for anyone listening who manages a budget.
Let's dissect how you would actually use these questions in a real vendor negotiation. The first question Parashar poses is, are they designing decision systems or just presenting analysis? So if an agency pitches you a project and their final deliverable is listed as a comprehensive industry report, you need to push back. You should be asking them, hey, how does this report physically connect to our daily operations? Are you just handing us data, or are you building a dashboard that triggers actions for our team?
Exactly. And the second question is, are they integrating strategy with technology? They have to bridge the gap between high-level vision and the actual operational systems. If they are talking about strategy but don't have deep technical fluency in how current AI models actually ingest your company's proprietary data, they're just selling you a pipe dream.
Totally. And the third question is crucial. Are they building internal capability? I mean, this is the ultimate test of a vendor's long-term value.
Oh, definitely.
When you are sitting in that pitch meeting, you need to ask, when this 6-month contract ends, is my internal team going to be stronger and smarter, or are we going to be entirely dependent on you to manage the system you just built?
Right. If they don't have a clear offboarding and training plan for your executives, they are just trying to hook you on a permanent retainer.
Exactly.
This raises an important question. If you take Parashar's test and apply it to the market right now, how many legacy consulting firms actually pass?
Honestly, probably not many.
Not many at all. Many are still desperately clinging to the old model of billing thousands of hours tied to manual research and slide deck creation. Rethink AI's own model is built entirely on navigating away from that. They focus on architecting intelligent organizations, doing enterprise AI strategy, and building that leadership literacy.
And this isn't just Parashar shouting into the void either. The professional community is echoing this loudly. In the comments on his article, there's a great observation from a user named Nilsson Ivano.
Oh, yeah, saw that.
He completely validates this shift from advice giver to strategy architect and points out a brilliant phrasing. He says consultants must master AI as a thinking partner, not a replacement. The AI does the heavy lifting on the data crunching, so the human can focus on the architectural design.
It requires a completely different cognitive skill set. You are no longer being paid for your ability to memorize information or quickly summarize a spreadsheet.
Right.
You are being paid for your ability to look at a complex, chaotic business environment and design a technological and human system that brings order to it.
So what does this all mean? When you boil everything down, it comes back to another famous idea from Parashar's work. AI without strategy is just expensive automation.
Yes.
If an agency just hands you a beautifully formatted 100-page slide deck of AI-generated insights, you are wasting your money. You are buying a paper map when you should be investing in the GPS system itself.
To summarize what we've unpacked today, AI is absolutely not eliminating the need for human expertise, but it is entirely redefining it.
Yeah.
The consultant's role in 2026 is no longer to provide the answers. Algorithms have commoditized answers. The new role is to help organizations ask better questions and to build the robust, transparent systems capable of answering those questions continuously.
It is a fundamental shift in professional identity. It's moving from being the smartest person in the room to being the person who builds the smartest room.
I love that phrasing. And I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, something that extends far beyond just the corporate consulting world.
Okay, let's hear it.
If the future of high-level expertise isn't about knowing the answers, but about designing systems to find them, how does this change the way we educate ourselves and the next generation?
Oh, wow.
Look at our schools and universities today. If we are still measuring human intelligence primarily by a student's ability to memorize facts and regurgitate them on a test, which is essentially the outdated consulting model of pure information retrieval, aren't we actively preparing human brains for a world that no longer exists?
Wow. That is a heavy and necessary question to ponder. Because whether you are navigating a massive corporate merger, managing a small team, or just trying to chart your own career path, having the map memorized just isn't enough anymore. You have to understand how to build the navigation system itself.
Yeah.
Take a hard look at your own workflows this week. Ask yourself how you can step out of the answer provider trap and become a decision architect in your own right. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.